Invariably, when we ask this question, how are you, we get the same answer from professionals and leaders. We're busy. But perhaps the better question is, as we go about the busy work in each and every one of our days, how are we reflecting? How are we learning? And how are we embedding those learnings such that we improve over time? I love this reflection by a guy called H. Williams when he says, "Furious activity is no substitute for understanding." Let's have a bit of a look at a model which might help us to explore this in a bit more of a systematic way. Of course, at the base of the model, we have a period of time. We have the progress in any particular initiative on the left-hand axis. And over time, the expected results from our project or initiative are, of course, heading in the right direction. And initially, we see this, right? But invariably, we come across a roadblock. Generally, in the early stages of a project, this is technical in nature, and we can rely on the professionalism and the technical skill of our people to overcome this. The more adaptive challenge, of course, starts to emerge when we see slight variations, a slight opening up of a gap of expected results and actual results. Now we hit a bit of a review point, we see a little bit of a gap, we have the opportunity to intervene, but we don't. How often do we avoid the conflict that would result from having a bit of a chat about the gap that's opened up here? Over time, having left it alone, this gap gets wider, and by the time that delivery timeframe comes about, we've got a big gap to plan or gap to expected results. Now, a crowd called Conversant have labelled these inflection points as point easy, where the gap is small, but the discomfort causes us to avoid the conversation. Point hard, where the gap gets wider, but the nature of the conversation we have to have is all that more difficult. And ultimately, point crisis, where we need a full-on redesign. We need to perhaps change some people. We need to ask for more money to deliver the project. This is the point of no return. Now, you may also have noticed that the same thing happens in a virtuous way. There are always those people in our team we can count on for over-delivery, for under-expense budget delivery. They use less money than they thought they were going to, or they achieve time frames that were much shorter than were originally intended. Now, the real question as it comes to these people and their performance is, how are we extracting the secret sauce from which they're able to extract this performance time and time again? I ask you to consider a couple of questions as it relates to your own business. How are we tracking ongoing performance in our team? Are we looking at review points and having the conversation about what's causing us to win or what's causing us to lose at various points? Secondly, how are we embedding a reflect, learn and improve rhythm to ensure that those lessons are repeated time and time again?